Let me start this by saying that this is not in no way a Jurassic World review. Jurassic World Rebirth. No, this is not a review. This is a slam. This is how in God's name does a movie like this get made? How in God's name? Well, I'll tell you how. I'm sort of, my mind's kind of racing here. It's jumping from one thing to the other. But how does a studio who has literally mined the shit out of Michael Crichton's books and given us everything from the Indominus Rex to whatever the fuck we have in this new movie, the Deformitus Rex or some shit like that. How do they sign off on $225 million and say, you know what, man, if we've done it once, if we've done it twice, if we've done it thrice, let's do it again? Well, I'll tell you why, because, you know, there are suckers out there. There are these sort of tasteless Philistines, people who don't know any better, who have so far added to the coffers of the studio almost $800 million to watch this godforsaken movie. This is definitely going to be a rant, but I'm going to sort of underscore this by actually talking about another movie as well, which I think was made. I wouldn't even say a fraction of this. I wish I'd checked this out before hitting record. But I'm just going to say, you know, in terms of both movies, the movie I'm referring to is Neighbourhood Watch. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, I'm not saying that movie is an exceptional movie. It is like a game changer. It is one of the best movies of 2025. No. What I'm trying to say is that here you have this movie, and I'm sure many of you actually watching The Last Picture Show may have never even heard of this movie. But I caught this like a couple of weeks ago. I'd seen the poster, Jeffrey Dean Morgan and what is Dennis Quaid's son's name? I'm forgetting, the guy from The Boys. So it's those guys, and it's, you know, it's a small movie, definitely an indie. And I was like, okay, you know what? I like the poster, and I often go on posters. I was like, I'm going to watch this. So I kind of double billed it with Jurassic World. So I was like, I will say this so that you guys do not judge me. I did not watch Jurassic World Rebirth in the cinema. I wouldn't be caught dead paying for a ticket to watch Jurassic World Rebirth. Sure, if you guys paid for the ticket, I maybe would have gone. No, actually, no. Ticket alone. I'm not some cheap, you know, slattern. I'm not some lady of the night who would sort of simply be wooed by a ticket alone. No, you would have to pay me a lot more to actually watch this shit in the cinema. But thank God for the internet. There it was. It was a slow Saturday night. So I was like, okay, you know what, man? Let's do this. So I can say it freely. I don't care. It's not like, what's it called? The FBI is going to prosecute me. I downloaded the movie. I'm proud of it. And I also downloaded Neighbourhood Watch. I was like, okay, let's double bill these two movies. Surely this night is not going to suck. For the 2 hours and 13 minutes, I think that's the runtime of Jurassic World Rebirth, I must have fast forwarded at least about 45 minutes of the movie. And you must be like, hey, that doesn't sort of like, you know, if you didn't see like a good chunk of the movie, how can you sort of give an honest critique? Well, I can. I can tell you, I'm going to give you a play-by-play, a blow-by-blow of how monumentally shit this movie. It is a shit stack piled so high. Like, you remember in the first one where Laura Dern's character, like, you know, kind of like there's this shit mound next to, I think, the Triceratops. And like, you know, it's a steaming pile. That is what Jurassic World Rebirth is. And yet, worldwide, you've had people go out and watch this movie and pay to watch this movie. And it has recouped its money, its production expense of $225 million, inexplicable, when it has fucking Scarlett Johansson, Maher Shalala, and who else? I think, are those the only two big names in this movie? I mean, I think frustrated by the lack of development on Blade, this guy turned to this movie. This was Scarlett Johansson's like, fuck you to Disney. Saying, you know what, you guys screwed me over on Black Widow. Well, I'm glad they did, because that was a shit movie too. But this was her way of saying, you know what, I can headline a franchise. And look, here I am on the poster of Jurassic World Rebirth with some like fucking dart gun and like trying to act tough. And honestly, man, the minute she hits the screen, I think within the first 2 minutes, I find her irritating and insufferable. There's a lot of vitriol that I have towards a movie like this, because I'm amazed that someone like the director, Gareth Edwards, and the screenwriter, David Coep, can produce such shit. Gareth Edwards, of Godzilla fame, of Star Wars Rogue One fame, of The Creator fame, and of course his first movie, I'm forgetting the name of that one. This guy is a very solid director. Rogue One, I mean, come on, man. One of the best Star Wars movies of this new age, of the post, Lucas age. Godzilla, I think it is the best Godzilla movie of, again, the post, I don't know what, like, you know, I don't even know, it was produced by Japan. These are sort of nerdy details that you guys do not need. But yes, one of the best sort of American-made Godzilla films. And The Creator, you know, for a movie that was shot on a Sony, FX? God, I'm forgetting the exact detail. But for a movie shot on a digital camera like that, for a movie in which I think he did most of the CGI, like sort of in-house or himself, and shot on a budget, I mean, it was criminally low, the amount of money that was spent on this movie. I mean, it was a very decent science fiction film. So for a man like that to make a movie like this, unpardonable, unless that pays, or what the money he earned off of this movie pays for something else, then I can kind of accept it. Like Werner Herzog taking up, like, you know, sort of work on The Mandalorian to pay for his next movie. David Coep, who wrote the first Jurassic World, who this year wrote one of the best, I think, sort of films I've seen, you know, sort of one of the best, with Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag. How the fuck could you write a movie like this? I'm sorry, it dipped there when I said the F word, but how can you write a shit-ass movie like this? Honestly, there is nothing about this movie that is original. There is nothing about this movie that introduces new, like, you know, sort of, you know, dinosaur chills and thrills. There is nothing remotely singular about this movie to warrant its existence. Which is why I say watch a movie, which is why I'm so glad I double billed this with a movie like Neighbourhood Watch. Now, Neighbourhood Watch is a movie about a mentally, not handicapped, but challenged, not even challenged, no, he has demons, he has certain problems, young man, played by Jack Quaid, that's his name, Jack Quaid, who is neighbor to retired university security guard Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He is a witness to a potential crime. No one believes him because, of course, he spent the last 10 years in a mental institute. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's lost his wife. He is perhaps disgruntled that, you know, he's now out of his security career and still trying to, you know, live his glory days. And this very odd couple kind of team up together to kind of find this lady who was abducted in that potential crime. This is not a movie that sort of promises to, like, you know, I don't know, revolutionize the world. This isn't like that, for example, that Lynn Ramsey movie with what's it called, starring Joaquin Phoenix, that sort of was like an art house. Remember that one? I'm forgetting the name, where he plays that former, I think, is he a former soldier, an FBI agent or something like that, but he is trying to recover a girl who's been kidnapped. It's nothing like that. This isn't a movie that, again, promises much. It's very straightforward. It is very, I mean, like you kind of can sense its trajectory, where it's going, what it's going to do along the way, how it potentially can end up. But I think in that there is a charm. In that, in its leads, in I think this sort of stripped down, very bare production, very no frills. I mean, there's nothing that stands out in terms of any of these things, and that's a good thing. You don't always have to burn bright, to get noticed. You don't always have to, deliver like sort of world-ending threats or consequences, to deliver a movie that is simply entertaining, yes, watchable, and engaging. You don't have to do all of that stuff. You can just tell a very straightforward, very by-the-numbers story, buoyed by leads that have good chemistry going on. I mean, I've always liked Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's a shame that he's been kind of consigned to television, or then if he's doing movies, then I wouldn't say B movies, but at least, sort of definitely not big productions, which is a shame because he is a good actor. And Jack Quaid seems to be a guy, I mean, he's very irritating as Boimler on Star Trek, what's it called, Lower Decks. But, these guys make it work. There's some good, quips in the movie. There's stuff like that. And you know what? I would have watched Neighbourhood Watch any time of the day over Jurassic World Rebirth. I think a very long time ago, not a very long time ago, but I mean, I remember Roger Corman, B movie king, and also mentor to people like Spielberg and Lucas, people who looked up, a lot of people looked up to him. He was like, you know what, instead of taking, and I may be misquoting this, please forgive me, but at least I think the spirit is right. Instead of spending $200 million on one movie that could be a potential disaster, why don't you find 200 directors or 200 potential filmmakers, budding filmmakers, and give them $1 million each and say, hey, make a movie. Out of that, those 200 movies that you get, maybe one of them's like an honest, like a gem, like revolutionary. That's a model that I don't know why these cowards in Hollywood are just not willing to take instead of, to adopt. Instead, they have to just keep on going back and flog that dead horse that is the franchise and keep on giving us shit like Jurassic World Rebirth. I mean, the movie is so fucking painful and bad and hard to watch because, we all say, oh, I could have done a better job than that. Man, I think I could have, man. I really could have. So again, the storyline is this trumped up bullshit of how, okay, they've kind of cleared all the history on all of the previous shit. Thank God they got rid of Chris Pratt and all of those people. Him, the Raptor Wrangler. Fuck off. I'm cursing more than I do on this show, but I'm sorry, I'm sort of so incensed. So storyline is that you have dinosaurs have been reintroduced to the world because of the changing climate and all of that stuff. They haven't been able to adjust anywhere else, northern or southern hemisphere. It's only where they can live is the equator. There's a new nefarious, biotech company who want to cure heart disease or some shit like that. And the only way they can do that is get live samples from the 3 biggest species, land, sea, and air, of dinosaurs. Who comes up with this stuff, man? Who writes bullshit like that? Who writes stuff like this that, okay, let's make this even more challenging. Let's not even try and get it from, the Titanosaur or that flying one, the F-16, as they say in the trailer. But no, let's also get it from the one in the ocean as well. I mean, really? So then, they have to hire ex-special forces, Scarlett Johansson, to, take in her team at the same time. And of course, Mahershala Ali's on board, who has this, backstory of having lost a child. She has a backstory as well of having lost like a valued team member on some mission. God, the baggage, the pain. On the other hand, you have what's it called, a family who is out on the high seas doing I don't know what. I don't know. I think this is because the eldest child is going off to university, so like, you know, they have to spend time together. I've never understood that I don't know why. So they get attacked by one of these dinosaur, you know, the water ones or whatever, and then they get picked up by these people, and then they go to the island, and then on the island it's one thing after another, and then you have. Man, I can't do this. I can't go through how painfully inept the storyline of this movie is. I can't tell you how irritated I was watching this movie. And you must be wondering, why didn't you turn it off? Well, I mean, sort of the quick fix to that was just keep on skimming until, you know, you got to one of the set pieces or the action scenes and something like that. I mean, how ridiculous is it? I mean, that they have to, I wouldn't say humanize the dinosaurs, but but again, I guess it appeals to kids who had gone to watch this movie. But they turn one of the dinosaurs, like one of these baby dinosaurs who has like these very dog-like qualities. And I was like, how would you have known how dinosaurs like would behave towards humans? I mean, why would they act like a little dog? So it's meant to be like a little puppy type thing that one of the characters puts in its rucksack and puts in her rucksack and take away. And what is this, man? And what's more painful is that this movie has actually made money at the cinema. We should be championing movies like Neighbourhood Watch over movies like Jurassic World Rebirth. And again, I say this. A lot of people could watch something like Neighbourhood Watch and say, you know, this isn't a particularly, you know, spectacular film or remarkable film or even memorable film. But you know what? It is so reassuring to see that the 90-minute movie is still alive, which Neighbourhood Watch is. I mean, it's short, sweet, concise, tells its story, says bye-bye, and that's it. And I'm grateful for that. So those are movies that we should be clamoring to go to the cinema to watch, as opposed to Jurassic World, because those are what makes cinema what it is. And I don't want to sound very stuffy or highfalutin, as they say, you know, keep on talking about sort of the cinema, the art form, and how we must preserve it. But I mean, you know, whenever you have critics complain, or even audience members complain, and how their complaint is shown is when they don't show up at the cinema, and the studio's like, what? We tried our best. No, you didn't. You just threw a lot of money at a story that has been told 1,000 times, and on the 1,001st time, it didn't work. What did you expect?